what I want to go back into is like, which has gone viral lately, as we saw, and I want to bring this up on the podcast. You've recently chosen to be a Muslim, and I want to say, what made you take that path? Because I'm not even nothing, but my face is parted everywhere, and I wish I had a better outfit in that mosque, because I'm on every news from Pakistan to Africa. Andrew Tate, Muslim praying with Tim Khan. My name's Tim now. Like, people are getting, I'm like, I'm saying the name right, Tom Khan. Tag me on Instagram, you know. But like, what made you to like? You've got everything, and like to a lot of people saying, why would you want to be in a religion where there's certain boundaries? Why? Because you're living this life. A lot of Westerners will say, why would you be in Islam? Why? Like, what made you?
Humans need boundaries. That's the first thing I'll start by saying. I'll say that I used to be an atheist. I like to believe that I found scientific proof for God. I think that there's an equal and opposite force. That was one of Newton's laws. And when you understand the evil that exists in the world today, there must be an opposite force to the evil, which has to be God. To sit and say that the things that are happening in the world today aren't truly evil is ignorant. And once you understand they're truly evil and that people are doing them on purpose, not on accident, you understand that Shaitan exists, the demons exist, which means God must exist. So then you have to find the religion which I believe you feel the most affinity to. Truthfully, I think Islam is almost the only religion on the planet. I look at other religions now and they don't have any red lines. They don't have any non-tolerance. If you're going to sit there and be tolerant of absolutely everything, then you stand for nothing. So how can you be a religion? But the whole point of religion is exactly what you said. There are certain things you cannot do. If you're going to have a religion and say, well, you can do whatever you want, then you don't have a belief system. So it's almost like people say, why did you choose the Muslim religion? I sit and say, name another one. Name another religion where you actually are sticking to guidance and adherence to certain rules to show respect to God. Name one. And you can't, which means it must be the only one, which means it's the right one. So to me, it's pretty simple. Like, I don't think there's any competition or alternative to it. And I've always felt an affinity for it. I've always been talking on podcasts about how much I respect it. Like, and if you're going to be religious, you're going to choose the path you respect. I don't think there's any other choice. I see people say they're Christian all days long, and I say, what does that mean? Because I can name drag queens who are Christian. I can name, like, no, but what does it mean?
No, but I understand your
But
point,
what does it
truly,
mean?
yeah.
It doesn't mean anything. And there has to be a degree. I mean, I'm attacked all the time, and I get it. But there has to be a degree of intolerance inside of a rule set. That's what the rule set means. In a football game, offside rule is intolerance. There has to be intolerance inside of any set of rules. If you're going to come along and say we have absolutely zero intolerance and we're tolerant of everything, then you have no rules. And then society degrades. So everything we were talking earlier about man, women, family, how all of the problems, all of the degenerate behaviors I'm advertising so men can protect their mental state instead of falling in love and ending up suicidal by some woman who leaves them and cheats on them, all of that can be prevented with a rule set. But it's only Islam that can do that. You can't go to a church and go, I've met a Christian girl, don't worry, it's in the bag. Good luck, friend. We know what's going to happen. We know what's going to happen. So I don't think there's any competition. It has to be the truth. It has to be the truth.
Mashallah. That's what he likes about it, because there is boundaries.
Well, there is boundaries, but also I think that the bottom line of it all is, James said it earlier, hedonism and pleasure, etc., is a black hole. And if you don't have any self-enforced boundaries or boundaries from a higher power, you will never fill that black hole. I've never been a degenerate person. I've never been degenerate when it comes to fornication. I've never been a gambler. I've never tried a single drug in my life. I've never tried steroids. I've never smoked a puff of weed. Nothing. I've never been a degenerate guy. Bit of vodka, some cigars, and work and really hard work. That's fine. But I'm saying that the people who try and find happiness through endless hedonism, it's a black hole. And the truth to happiness is to come along and find some rule sets that you respect and agree and say, no, I don't do this, I don't do that. And you'll feel better doing that. And this is the reality of it. And this is how God gives you peace in your heart and in your mind. You don't look at 5 Palm and want to go. You just don't want to go. And it's so much better. You know the
5 Palm are going to put a lawsuit on me. I love 5 Palm.
Yeah, there's not many people in your life through probably the last 10 years that say no to you. And you see people, I love Conor McGregor, right? Yeah. But I feel like he hasn't got enough people around him to say no. And I feel like sometimes Islam and religion, you put a higher power, you have someone there that for the rest of your life, no matter, you could triple your net worth, tenfold, whatever, you could increase everything. I think it's such a beautiful thing to have something above you that is the real rule maker.
You know the only thing better than having everything you want? Not wanting things. I'm telling you, you get more peace in your heart from not wanting something than having as much as what you want of it. I'm telling you. If you were to ask a man right now, if we could cure ourselves or cure our hearts, if you were to say, let's talk about women because we talked about it a bunch, right? If you could give a man to have any woman he wants, and he's running around having every girl he wants all day long, there's still going to be stress. He's still going to be in and out of hotel rooms. He's still going to be driving in traffic, all this garbage. If you could make him click and not want him anymore, that's where the peace is. The peace is not having everything you want. The peace is not wanting things. That's the truth.
I also think it's
and now that I'm religious, I can't wait till I start doing podcasts with atheists, because I was the number one atheist. I was Mr. Atheist, and now I realize that I was completely wrong.
Do you think part of that
100%
no,
is
but
wrong.
for me, and I'm gonna.
Yeah.
In society,
What about you? You're religious?
I'm Muslim, and I was gonna say, do you think like even when you became Muslim, do you think a reason was maybe you were going through like a tough time and you like good things suddenly came and you just felt there has to be something for it?
No, I don't think so. And even at the height of my tough times, I'm not here to brag or act arrogant on camera.
Yeah.
Right. One of my advantages in life is my mental rigidity. I've always been that guy. So even at the height of the mass matrix attack, which we haven't even talked about at its full extent, I've always been pretty good under pressure. That's how I've been. So I certainly wasn't under pressure and looking for, a way to feel better. It wasn't like that. I just truly respect and understand that God is real, and I truly respect and understand that with my own eyes, what I've observed, the truest way to show respect to God is through Islam. It's the only thing I've seen that I truly respect, and it means that the religion as a whole has to be the truth. I can't worship something I don't respect. I can't be called something I don't respect. I don't know how else to explain it. But it's interesting, and he's atheistic, and I'd love to talk to atheists, because I used to be the number one atheist, right? I used to believe.
But what changed that?
What changed it is, number one, observing all the evil in the world.
Yeah.
I don't think many people are perspicacious enough and pay enough attention and genuinely understand how evil the world can be and how evil it is.
Yeah.
We hear about crime, we hear about certain things, but there are truly heinous things that happen on the planet every single day. Children getting murdered, people getting sick for no reason. Like, all of this genuine bad things are happening in the world, as well as the fact that I truly believe the agendas in charge of the world are genuinely evil. And there cannot be a force without an equal and opposite force. That's Newton's third law, right? If I push against you, there's an equal and opposite force. So if there's true evil, if you see Satan, if Satan appears in front of you, you're going to believe in God, right?
Yeah.
And that's what happened for me. That's the first thing. The second thing is, I think when you have negative experiences, and I'm talking about truly negative experiences, I've had a few where you come close to losing your life, or you meet other people who come close to losing their lives. Nobody's an atheist at the end, my friend. He will not be an atheist if he gets stabbed and he's about to die. And he'll be praying to God like you've never seen. Yeah. Atheists stop being atheists quickly when the game gets real. So all of us innately understand in God. The most atheist man alive will pray if he really needs help. So I think we all innately understand God. God's certainly real. God has, like Tam said, giving us innate understandings of what's right and what's wrong. And also, if we're going to talk about happiness, as James said, we're here to be happy and we're here to enjoy ourselves. It's through God that you're happy and enjoy yourself. It's not through that black hole of hedonism. It's not through endless pussy and supercars and booze. And it's not those things. You can find any man who goes down that hole and tell me, are they happy? The answer is no. Who's the man who's happiest? The man who's praying.
Yeah, because I think if you put your happiness in everything that's here, eventually you probably have it. Then you realize that's not ultimate happiness. You need to have faith in something beyond what's here.
Completely.
And then that's why I say, like, even that's why I asked why you convert, because I remember, like, I'm a Muslim.
Yep.
Right? Now, I'm not going to say I'm the best practicing Muslim.
Yep.
But it was through my toughest times where I chose to do good things. And I was saying, like, subconsciously said, what's the most honest thing to do? Like, it was through, like, just a ton of bad friends, just bad environments that happened. And I was going through a very dark time, right?
Yeah.
And I just told myself, just do the right thing. It's hard, because if you do the wrong thing, you get instant satisfaction.
Completely.
Right? And it's like, well, if I just go and just act snaky like these people and just start manipulating, I was like, you know what? It's okay. Lose these friends, lose these people around you. Just trust the process. And eventually I got so much good out of it. And I was like, and that's kind of like what made me a lot more like faithful. I was like, okay, if you do good, it's hard sometimes, but long term,
it's delayed gratification.
Exactly, You
can eat the cake now and you're happy you had the cake, but if you want to be in fantastic shape, you have to go without the cake and look better later. And you're right, God is very giving. And I think that I don't know anybody who did the right things and was good to people and showed people respect, even if it was hard at the time, who didn't eventually get rewarded for it.
If you're doing good things to get good things, then that's not because you're trying to be good.
Correct.
So I don't want people watching this and saying, oh my God, Mo and Andrew said if you do good things will come. They probably won't. And a lot of times it comes so delayed, and you'd only ever really get the good result if you purely did it as, you know what, I'm just going to take the good decision. If the good comes or doesn't, that's my decision.
I want to argue the God point a bit more for all the atheists who are watching, and I would say that if you remove God from society completely, if you click your fingers and he's gone, and in most of the world where there's religion, and if you completely remove religion from earth, you'll see the devil appear pretty quickly. You'll see mass breakdown of society, you'll see crime, you'll see rape, you'll see murder, you'll see theft, and then you'll understand that God is a real force. Even if you want to argue against God, even just the idea of God in and of himself, if enough people believe in the idea of a God and it makes them act righteously, then the idea is a real thing. We don't even have to talk about it in the pure man in the sky. We don't have to talk about it in that way. I'm saying that the idea of God is a real idea that keeps society functioning. So God must exist to some degree, even as a concept.
Yeah.
And when you remove God from society, the devil appears. And there's very few countries on earth now that you can say are non-religious, which aren't just completely and utterly degenerating. People in America say, "Oh yeah, I'm not religious." You're religious to the woke agenda. You're religious to liberalism. Like these people, everyone needs something to believe in.
Yeah.
The people who are the most intolerant, the most hateful, thanks bro, the most intolerant, the most hateful, the ones who tried to cancel me for having a different opinion, the most nasty, negative people on earth are the atheists who believe in a new agenda. They believe in woke agenda. They have a new religion. Everybody believes in something. And if you believe in God, you have a firm framework which has been tested throughout time. Another thing about the whole modern world, we're talking whether this is about the way men and women interact, whether it's the way about men going into bathrooms, whatever it is. The religious doctrines, what's great about them is they've existed long enough for us to test them. We see what happens to society when they're adhered to. All this new think, this brand new think is untested. When they sit and say, you shouldn't discipline children, that's bad. We did a psychological study, and if you discipline children, it's bad for them. I argue, well, we built the pyramids and went to the moon and built the modern world with disciplined kids. Now you're sitting saying that that's somehow wrong. Well, how do you know what's going to happen when you let kids do whatever the fuck they want? Because I don't know if it's going to be a good thing. This is all new think garbage. We know where religion takes us, right? This new think, and we're just going to go and agree with all this other new crap. I don't think it's going to end well.
Because already, I don't know you well, but you can see it how you act and how you portray and carry yourself is you're well raised. But everything, like we're saying, rules and what we say, everything has stemmed from Judeo-Christian values. Then Quran, you don't know what, like people say, what's being good? Where do we know giving charity, giving a smile, crossing over the road with a lady? This all stems from religion. Otherwise, if you go back to the caveman, whatever you want to say, days, it'll be literally pillage that whole village, take what's mine, the strong man survives. We'll just kill each other. Okay, you've got $1 million, you've got this, I'm going to try and kill you, he's going to kill me, take your sister, take his... Unfortunately, that was life. That would have been bury girls alive. Why? Because they're not strong. The baby's fetus he weighed 5 pounds. Boom, like Spartans or whatever. 3 on the movie. The rule set came from Judaism, Christianity. It's like all these values. On the way, like he said, they were tampered with. They kind of sold out to the system where they were afraid. They couldn't. They had to adapt. Where instead of saying no, this is our rules. We believe this is not allowed. This is not allowed. And they felt like he said that's why he chose Islam. But without religion or God, and obviously, I believe for a fact God exists and the Creator, bringing these messages to prophets and messengers, we wouldn't even know what good and bad is. You would not know.
Do you know what's crazy as well? If we look at, say, like you say there correctly we look at history, I think a lot of the woke movement at the moment are so ignorant to history that they think nowadays is really bad. They think, misgendering someone or getting the pronoun wrong is bad. You're like, rewind 100 years and we were doing some really fucked up shit to each other. Yeah. And like you say, we can pick holes in religion. Anywhere we go, we can find 2% of people where we can get there, even in fitness, right? Bring it out of context. I give 1,000 people a plan. I'll get 2 of them who are going to look fucking good at the end of it. And I can make it seem like that's the whole plan. That's not the reality. Same in religion. You get 1 billion people to convert to a religion, you're going to find a small percentage of them and go, oh my God, but what about these guys, and paint it badly. If you go back up far enough in history, and again, we need to remember that human beings are savages. We are primitive beings with primitive urges, with primitive minds. We have, through society, religion, creating these beautiful rule sets. Even, monogamy is a rule set to make us better. And if we go back, we can pick holes in religion and all of this. But if you go back far enough and see how far we've come, we should be so appreciative of it. And I was similar to you, where I was atheist for a long time, and I lived with a Muslim for a few years. And I realized that any of my thoughts towards his habits, whatever it was just purely through ignorance. And when I said to him, about Ramadan, I was like, so why are you doing this? And I did it with him for the month. And at the end of it, I was so appreciative of food. We'd sit there. In Australia, it's easier because they got the short days for Ramadan. Yeah. We'd go there 6 p.m, easy, and we'd be eating. And we made such a big deal out of all of it. And it was only through my 20s that I came to realize, You can be there and not believe in anything. But even if there wasn't a God, and you've got all these people adhering to this rule set and living that way of life, we should be, well, I certainly am. I'm in awe of it, and I think it's brilliant. But it's crazy that so many people are unappreciative of what that can do to society.
I think it's an education, and I think it's like Andrew says, a lot of these things stem to what he said. Matrix, call it you want. There's an agenda to keep religion out of society. There is Christianity. They want that out. Why? Because they want to control you with other channels, call it religion. I don't even call it religions. Other systems of belief where they have control of you, like become sheep. And like you're saying, religion gives you those values. Like 2 billion people, whoever, for example, you go to like Mecca. I went to, it's the holy place pilgrimage, and I can't explain it. There was hundreds of thousands of people, and when the imam, like the priest, started the prayer, it was like this.
Yeah.
Go to a football match. Try and do a national anthem. Do you know? You'll always get someone's died or the Queen. You get someone shouts something. You can never get silence. School, someone laughs, someone farts. It was like that. Rich men, poor men, UFC fighters like Khabib was at the time. Like you name it, you couldn't tell a difference. Everyone had this white robe. Everyone's same, bowing down to his. And I went. I've been Muslim my whole life, but when I left, I was like, wow, there's a power you cannot buy, teach. That's a true belief. That's subhanallah. We say that. That's amazing for me. And I'm not someone to like preach, because I've been more haram than all of you, because I've been more than Muslim, and I acted in degenerate ways like I was, yeah. But at the point in my life where I'm so content, where even if I was to die, I'm ready to go. I feel, and not a lot of people can say that. I don't feel like I'm ready to go. I feel like as a person I behave well. Whoever knows me in life knows I will never steal money from them. That's one thing. They'll say he's rude, he's a prick, he's a bit arrogant. But you never hear a story he could steal money off me or he scammed me and thing, because of my belief. So that's why, and I'm so truly believing in it, that I think to my extent I'm behaving well. I do good messages. I try to raise my family good. I'm good to everyone. I don't do things for another thing in favour. And I'm ready to go. And I think that's the beauty of having that belief, where if I didn't have God, like God knows, like there'll be no limit to me. Honestly, for me, there'll be no limit to what I do.
Yeah, and that's why they want to destroy religion. They want to destroy. It's not just religion. They want to destroy absolutely all of our baseline morality in every way. Before you put something on a hard disk, you wipe it clean. And they're trying to wipe us clean as humans. They want us to have no baseline moralities, no baseline understandings of what right and wrong is, no baseline understandings of how we should act, no baseline instincts. The male instinct to become strong is a protective instinct. I want to be big and strong to protect the people I care about and love. They don't want us to have any of that. They're trying to destroy it or attack it or confuse us into believing that we're wrong for wanting it. We're wrong for wanting to be a big, strong man of resource. That makes you a bad person, Tam. How dare you want to be a big, strong man of resource? How dare you want to take care of the people you care about most? How dare you want to be able to stand up against 3 normal-sized men and say you're not going to touch any of the women I care about? That makes you bad. Yeah. When I sit here and say these things about women, they call me misogynistic. Every single one of them is taken out of context. They don't understand I'm talking about protecting and providing for women. When I say that I'm the one who would drive the car through the thunderstorm in the middle of the night on the rocky road, I'm not insulting women. I'm saying it's my responsibility to keep us safe. That's why I will take the risk. Yeah. They totally misunderstand it. They want to attack me and anybody else who has any kind of baseline morality, because when they destroy that, your mind is empty for the slave programming. Then they can install the new program, whatever they decide it wants to be. If they want to wipe your mind and give you a new programming, do you think it's to make you happy, content, and individualistic, or to make you a slave so they can be tyrannical? That's all they want to do. And religion and a few other things are in their way. Another thing that's truly in their way, we talked about this a lot. That's the only reason I'm going to come back to it. The beautiful interaction between man and woman is in their way. The reason they're destroying this in real time is because if you have a man and he loves his wife and his wife is a good woman and they have a family home and he has children, he is ready to die on that porch. That's his house. That's his castle. That's his woman. This is why they try and fuck it up. This is why they want the woman to not listen to him to run around going, women don't listen, I may as well just run around with a bunch of hoes and destroy all of it, because now he ain't going to die for nothing.
Can you imagine, in UK, it's illegal to have another wife, but it's okay to commit adultery? It explains this point well. They want you to have these affairs. I think a man has another wife, you can go to jail. But if she cheats and you've got 5 kids, you've provided for her life, nothing happens. So of course, she'll still keep the kids. And a lot of men, I think that, like he says, he empowers men. We might not agree on the system or what he thinks, purely because of the way everyone's got their own system or ideas how they will do it. But what he's writing is he's giving them this strong empowerment. Why? Because these men work their ass off all day. No one sees their depression, working job just to put that food on the table. And I'm not giving a stop. That's what their life is. When you have a wife and kids, their life's gone. It's to pay those bills, come home, and I've seen it. I've seen the wives, yeah, you're all right, here, there's your food. Maybe they don't cook for them. Kids, they ignore them, get ruined. He's thinking, then he goes back to that weekend, takes him out, drives, repeat, dies, mortgage is there. Finally, by the time he dies, he might have paid it or not. That's depression. You know, he's put into that system. He's saying, if that woman leaves him, he's fucked.
Yep.
So he's got these debts, he's got these kids. Kids don't want to see him. What does he do? He doesn't know nothing else. He's been programmed to just do that to provide for his family. And I can understand why men, when they have these divorces or their kids and their kids are taken away, it's a real situation. There's like a movie where men don't even get a chance to see the kids if the woman says one thing. There's no investigation.
Bro, I'll say this now. And yeah, it was haram. It was before my religious experience. I used to run the webcam business. And I will say this now. Webcam girls have stopped more men committing suicide than any therapist. The number of men who used to go on these websites and pay these girls and say, my wife doesn't respect me, she left me, I don't get to see the kids, I'm in debt now, I have to pay her X amount of money, I'm 42, no woman wants me, I can't find anyone, you're the only person who remembers my birthday. It's the reality.
You had a good website,
bro.
Ding, Dave, it's your birthday today. Let me
I
crush a banana with my foot.
I have reminders set up. But it's the reality for so many men, and it's a truly cynical reality, and that's why when I give the answers I give about man being experienced, I know it seems cynical and degenerate, but that's the only answer I found. It's like, okay, well then you need to have a little bit about you. At least you know you're never going to be lonely forever. Man, if you meet a woman at 17, you've been with her your whole life. How are you going to get in the dating scene at 40 fucking? Bro, it's over. It's over. The game's over. It's over. And that's the point I'm making. And religion fixes all these problems. The world can be a beautiful place with God's guidance. If you take God's guidance away, humans are not that good. Humans are truly, we said earlier about pecking orders. You're right. And religion also prevents a lot of that. I'm telling you now what happens in unchecked societies, whether you believe me or not. You go to a godless country. Let's say you go to Miami. I go to Miami. Instagram gives me my account back. We'll see. I get my blue check mark out. 95% of girlfriends and wives will come and meet me. 95% of them. And they'll sit there with me on a date, expecting me to be a dumbass. Oops, I'm a genius, and I'm actually rich as I look like on Instagram. Oh, funnily enough, I'm not lying. That's it. It's game over. I can ruin men. I got to the point where I genuinely felt bad. I'd go and date a girl, and she'd be 10, and she'd be beautiful, and after like 3-4 dates, we'd already slept together, whatever. She'd go, yeah, there's my ex. And I'd see the text, and I was like, I feel bad for these. It's almost like shooting fish in a barrel, my friend. I felt bad for the men. That's a degree of morality most men never get to. Where I was like, I'm driving men to suicide running through these chicks, and that's what happens in a godless society. That's all that happens. It's a hierarchy, and there are men out there at a certain level of status and capability and money who can just take your chick. They can do whatever they want. Maybe they can't take her right away. Maybe she'll ignore the first message. Yeah. Maybe she'll ignore the second message. But then you'll start arguing with her. Then she'll like your pick back. Yeah. Bruv, I'm telling you the game. I'm telling you. I've done it. And I'm saying you need God to prevent these things. So if you take away God from society, a lot of atheists who I talk to, they go, oh, I don't believe in God. I was like, you're lucky God's real, my friend. Because if God wasn't real, little shits like you would be in a lot of trouble. Because you don't stand a chance in violence. You don't stand a chance in the sexual marketplace. You don't stand a chance in any realm. You need God 100%. More than me.
You're from a rugby background. Imagine those like Maui